at 6:30 starts now.
Good morning, Utah. I'm Sarah Martin.
And I'm Brian Carlson. The time 6:31 on this Wednesday.
We begin with the inauguration. Our nation's capital in lockdown this morning. The acting attorney general reiterating there will be a peaceful transfer of power today. And the Justice Department will not tolerate anyone who tries to harm the day. Before heading off to Washington, D.C., Biden choked up as he spoke at the National Guard Reserve Center named for his late son, Beau.
I only have one regret. He's not here, because we should be introducing him as president. But we have great opportunities.
Before Biden's inauguration, though, security experts' biggest fears have come true. A defense official confirms they found 2 Army National Guard members assigned to the inauguration with ties to far-right groups. Both have been removed from inauguration security and are under investigation.
Here in Utah, state leaders are preparing for possible protests surrounding today's inauguration. So what can we expect? For that, ABC4's Jared Giattinini is live at our state capitol with the story. Good morning, Jared.
Good morning. Well, we always have increased security here at the Capitol during the first week of the session, but due to the governor's executive order, we have UHP and the Utah National Guard on standby should Biden's inauguration spark protest here. Now, take a look at this video from over the weekend from a smaller demonstration, people gathering there in front of the Capitol. Officials say they're preparing for armed protests this afternoon, which are planned at all 50 state capitals from Utah to Washington, D.C. There is heightened security. Again, local law enforcement agencies are preparing for armed protests. Now, as Biden gets sworn in, President Trump could still be impeached. The House set to deliver articles of impeachment to the Senate any day now. During an ABC4 News town hall with Utah Senator Mitt Romney and Representative Chris Stewart, we talked about their votes to impeach the president.
We're talking about a president who's, at the time of impeachment, he had less than a week in office.
I will look at the evidence that's presented. I will review in some depth the briefs and get legal counsel from my staff. And I will make a decision consistent with the oath, which I will be required to take, which is to render impartial justice.
Now, again, it is Inauguration Day in D.C. Still unclear on Senator Mitt Romney's schedule, but Representative Stewart will not be attending. He says that he and his wife were exposed to COVID-19. They are in good health, but are taking necessary precautions. Now, still a lot of uncertainty regarding what will happen here at the Utah State Capitol. There is, again, heightened security, and Utah Highway Patrol says a lot of the extra safety measures that were implemented during this past week could be extended into the future. Coming up next, we will have more from Senator Romney and Representative Stewart about what they think plans will look like once Biden is sworn in. Reporting live, Jared Giattinini, ABC4 News.
All right, thank you, Jared. Leading up to today's inauguration, President Donald Trump delivered his farewell address last night.
This week, we inaugurate a new administration and pray for its success in keeping America safe and prosperous.
In that pre-recorded video, President Trump also praised what he sees as his top achievements in office, including his efforts to normalize relations in the Middle East.
Of course, the time now is 6:34. The president has now just landed at Joint Base Andrews there ahead of a farewell ceremony for President Donald Trump. We'll take you a live look right now where the president just landed seconds ago. This is a live look as he has arrived from Marine One with the First Lady, Melania Trump. He's now getting a 21-gun salute as in his final farewell to our 45th president. The president breaking with more than a century of tradition by not attending the swearing in of his successor, President-elect Joe Biden. Instead, he's having this brief ceremony there at Joint Base Andrews. Let's listen to the president.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, live look or expected temperatures for today ranging from the 30s for Logan, 36 for Delta, 42 for Cedar City, and 59 for St. George. Plenty of sunshine, especially for those of us in central northern Utah, Elko, White Pine County, Idaho, and Wyoming. Coming up, we're going to talk more about your expected high temperatures for today and your air quality. And of course, we'll keep you updated on traffic. Back to you.
All right, thank you much, Erica. Now, ahead of today's inauguration for President-elect Joe Biden, Washington, D.C. is seeing an unprecedented security presence. The Capitol is now surrounded with armed members of the National Guard, extensive barricades, and checkpoints. 25,000 soldiers are on standby to ensure a peaceful transfer of power. That security presence is making today's inauguration unlike anything we've seen before. We're getting a first-hand account from a Utah politician who will be there this morning. Joining us live from Washington is former Utah Congressman Ben McAdams. Congressman, thanks for being with us here today. I understand you're attending today's inauguration.
That's right, Brian. Great to see you. I'm here in Washington, just arriving at the Capitol, preparing to go through security. They have this place locked down. It looks, we've got great safety protocols that are in place, men and women, both Capitol Police officers, National Guard, who are here to make sure that everybody's safe and things go off well today.
So we hope it goes off as well. Where will you be when President-elect Joe Biden takes the oath of office?
Yeah, from what I understand, there's very limited attendance at the inauguration today, both due to COVID and due to the security concerns. So I'm told there's about 1,000 people who will attend, mostly members of Congress and the guest, and then former members of Congress who are invited. So we will be joining the ceremony on the west steps of the Capitol with everyone else and be witnessing the ceremony then. And, you can see behind me the fencing that they put up around the Capitol to make sure that it is safe. There are no incidences like we saw a couple of weeks ago. And we're feeling, my wife was with me, we're feeling pretty good about the safety precautions that have been taken.
It's quite remarkable. We're getting a good signal from your cell phone there. You mentioned the security. Can you show us what you're seeing there with your phone?
Yeah, so what we're seeing here, let me you can see some of the guard behind me here. I want to be careful to not show too much and compromise any of the security in the area. So maybe I'll just describe it. But you can see there's fencing all around the Capitol. They've expanded the security perimeter to include the House office buildings and the Senate office buildings. So even to get where we are today, we had to show credentials and to pass one security checkpoint. And then there's another one that we have to go through before we're allowed to enter the Capitol grounds. There are, as I said, Capitol Police and National Guard everywhere around the complex to just make sure that everybody's safe. They've also shut down bridges into the cities and other modes to get into the city, and transit in the immediate vicinity of the Capitol. Those transit stops are closed, so we had to walk here. From what I can tell, they've taken every precaution to make sure this event is safe and goes off without a hitch.
What's it like to see the inauguration fortified in this way?
It's both comforting to know that we will be safe and that we have the men and women in uniform here to protect us, but it's also, I have to say, sad that this is required. This is intended to be a day of celebration where we celebrate democracy. It is not without some hardship for people who are whose candidate did not win. I know myself, as someone who was not successful in my election, that call I made to my opponent to congratulate him on his election victory is one of the hardest calls I've made in my life. And so I know that for many Americans today whose candidate did not prevail, it's with some sadness. But this is also a time to celebrate democracy and the peaceful transfer of power and how what prevails in our country is an election and democracy. And to see that this is what's necessary today is honestly sad. That we have the concerns about violence with the insurrection that we saw 2 weeks ago, and the threats that continue to this day, not only here in Washington but in 50 states across the country. It's sad, and I have to say I think we're better. We need to be better than this as Americans, and this is a time that even if your side, your party, your candidate did not prevail, this is where we celebrate democracy and that we come together as Americans to put our country first and to then work together to govern and to solve the challenges that we face. And the challenges we face today are great.
And as you mentioned, you've seen both sides of this issue before. President, of course, has moved out from the White House. We're now expected to see the president-elect take that oath of office in a matter of hours here today. Great to talk with you here this morning. Former Congressman Ben McAdams, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, 6:40 now. Coming up on Good Morning Utah, we've got continuing coverage of the inauguration. After the break, we'll talk with the Hinckley Institute of Politics about what we can expect from Biden's first 100 days.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Erica Martin. Weather rate certified 9 years in a row.
All right, let's check your weather. Erica,
Hello.
what's on tap today?
Well, we have a really nice Wednesday in the forecast. So I'm excited about that. Lots of sunshine for your Wednesday, Brian. So I'd say after the show, get on out there and get your cardio in outside and enjoy. And the good news is, at least in Salt Lake County, we're going to see good air quality. Tooele County, Box Elder having some issues for Utah County and Uinta County. I'll show you in just one moment, but I do want to focus on a few things. We have a little piece of energy, a trough that's cutting across Lincoln County into Sublette County and parts of Sweetwater County as well in southwestern Wyoming. So it's kicking up the wind speeds here. We're seeing wind profile anywhere between about 10 to 20 miles per hour. But as a weak ridge of high pressure continues to develop, I promise you those winds are diminishing and we have lots of sunshine in store. Farther south, we are tracking clearing skies here. This is just the remnant moisture that lingered from what we saw yesterday, late yesterday through the overnight hours. We still saw some isolated showers early this morning for St. George. Now, in the meantime, our colonial flag not doing much right now, and yes, the weather ball is red. We do have a warmer day ahead for today and for tomorrow. We're going to stay in the 40s through Friday, but we're tracking a much different weather pattern starting Friday into Saturday and Sunday. So a heads up right now. Colonial flag looking so nice, but really not doing too much because of the winds. Now, St. George, this is what we're looking at. Isolated showers. You can see that the pavement is wet. Good news because we certainly could use that rain farther south, but apart from that, conditions are pretty fair weather, all thanks to this weak ridge of high pressure. There it is. It's building, not doing too much, but at least it's going to keep conditions pretty nice for today. A mix of sun and clouds farther south and those clearing showers. Here's a look at your air quality update brought to you by UCare. Thank you so much. We are seeing much better conditions for so many of us, including Carbon County, Washington, and Iron County. So enjoy the day. But those of you in that yellow zone, moderate, please be aware of that. Current temperature right now for Lake Powell, 37 degrees, 44 for St. George, Cedar City 26, Milford 18, and Delta nice and warm at 40, Provo 17, Salt Lake City 24. So our futurecast, I'm kicking this out 60 hours. We can see here not much going on for today. Clouds developing later today as a system moves just to the north of us, filling in the cloud coverage by Thursday night into Friday. And of course, we'll be tracking some precip, as I said, because we do have active weather later this week. A mix of sun and clouds for today, tracking some precip by the end of the week. And it looks like we could see some isolated snow showers by Saturday. Be sure you go ahead and take that thumb, click on over to CW30. We'll see you there at 7 a.m. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Erica. We do have breaking news now. We are watching as President Donald Trump makes his final acts in office. He is at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland right now, walking onto Marine Corps One. Actually, it looks like he's walking to Air Force One in order to fly to Mar-a-Lago down in Florida. He's just addressed a crowd there again at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. His last act as 45th President of the United States. He and his family, some of his staff members, now going to Air Force One, headed to Mar-a-Lago. He will not be attending today's inauguration ceremony. Again, we're watching the 45th President of the United States, President Donald Trump, walking to Air Force One now. He's just spoken at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. His last remarks, his last speech before leaving office today. We're just hours away from the inauguration ceremony of the 46th President, Joe Biden, to be sworn in hours from now in Washington, D.C. President Donald Trump boarding Air Force One with his wife, Melania, at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. They are headed to Mar-a-Lago. Making history here, more than 150 years of American history. Every president has attended the inauguration of his successor. This is not happening today. President Donald Trump there waving to the crowd at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. And we're seeing the president and his wife boarding Air Force One. They're heading off now just hours before the inauguration ceremony in Washington, D.C. from Joint Base Andrews now, headed to Mar-a-Lago. All right, today, Inauguration Day, President-elect Joe Biden, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will take their oaths of office at 10 a.m. local time, the start of the 46th presidency. In his 20-minute speech, Biden expected to lay out his goals to unite the country in a time of unprecedented crisis. Here to help us break it down, what's in store for today and beyond, Morgan Lyon-Cotti, the Associate Director of the Hinckley Institute of Politics at our University of Utah. Morgan, thanks so much for being with us. We're looking ahead to 46 today, but can we start with 45? We just saw President Trump board Air Force One. What's the significance of the president not attending the inauguration ceremony today?
He joins a very small group of individuals, former presidents who did not attend their successors' inaugurations. And the optics of this are so unusual because we are, especially in the age of television, we are used to seeing that bipartisan group of presidents and former presidents and leaders watch the next inaugurations, wave goodbye to them as they leave the Capitol. But here, President Trump boarded Air Force One. That's not something we've seen before on his way out. Normally they take a government plane or another private plane. So it's significant, and especially for the disunity that we see in our country right now, it's emblematic of that as well.
Certainly. The Hinckley Center and the Deseret News polled Utahns, found that about 52% of our state does hold President Trump at least somewhat responsible for the riots we saw at the Capitol. What does that tell you right now about how Utahns will adapt to this transition of power?
I think Utahns will be watching the inauguration very closely, and if the Senate takes up the impeachment and conviction, I think they'll watch that trial very closely. I think they'll be listening to what President-elect still Biden says and what the leaders say. We talked a couple weeks ago about how we move forward from here, how we find that unity. And again, I think a lot of people are going to be looking to leaders to see how they react and how they address the Capitol riot 2 weeks ago and how they're trying to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about President-elect Biden's first 100 days? What major moves are you looking for?
We're going to see a lot of executive orders today. It seems to become a new tradition that in the first day or week of a new president, they're implementing executive orders that are often undoing what the previous president did. The first 100 days are so critical to secure those cabinet positions, get those through the Senate. But I'm really watching this first year and these first 2 years when the Democrats have control of the Senate and Congress to see what kind of signature legislation that the Biden administration will try to push through.
Very interesting, very interesting. And as you said, I mean, pulling back some of those moves from the former president. Can we talk a little bit about just Inauguration Day? Is there a part of Inauguration Day that you focus most on? Lots of pomp and circumstance today, but if we could kind of wade through that, what do you feel like is the most important part of this historic day?
Honestly, for me, the most important part and the part that I love the most is just seeing the Capitol draped in those American flags and seeing those stands full of members of Congress, of family, of friends. And it really is supposed to be this unifying bipartisan day when everyone is watching. There's often symbols and interesting things to see. What are people wearing? Who are the celebrities that are there? Who reads the poem? Who writes the music? But just really seeing that group of leaders getting together, ushering in this constitutional and democratic process. That's really my favorite part.
It's going to be quite the day. Morgan Lyon-Cotti from the Hinckley Institute of Politics. Morgan, thank you so much for your insight. We really value you. Have a great one.
Thank you. You as well.
The time now is 6:52. We do have some business news for you this morning. Airlines are starting to hire pilots again after major losses in 2020. And Ford is recalling millions of cars over an airbag safety concern. Here's your Good Morning Utah business report. Signs of hope at some airlines that travel is going to rebound as more people get the coronavirus shot. Some are starting to hire more pilots. PSA Airlines, a subsidiary of American, and Frontier Airlines both say they plan to resume hiring this year. And for the first time ever, Netflix can now boast over 200 million subscribers. That's thanks to the 37 million new subscribers who signed up last year as the coronavirus pandemic started to keep people at home. Fourth quarter revenues also topped $6.5 billion. Plus, Microsoft is driving into the driverless car market. It's reached an agreement to invest in a Cruise, a driverless car company that GM bought 5 years ago. Along with money, Microsoft will add computing power to the partnership, backing driverless cars with its cloud technology. And finally, Ford is being ordered to recall 3 million cars over suspect airbags. The recall covers various models from the 2006 to 2012 model years, all with Takata airbags installed. That company's airbags are blamed in the deaths of at least 27 people. And that's your Good Morning Utah Business Report. The time now is 6:53. And new overnight, the Salt Lake City School District voted to send high school and middle school students back to the classroom. The 5-hour-long meeting ended last night with the school board voting 6-1 to return to in-person learning. Teachers in the district began receiving COVID-19 vaccines last week, making the switch to in-person learning safer. Middle and high school students are expected to return to class February 8th.
And beginning today, you can get a rapid COVID-19 test at the Salt Lake International Airport while you're waiting for your flight. Express Check is opening a COVID-19 testing site in Concourse A right after the security checkpoint. Passengers can get rapid molecular tests and standard nasal swabs. Those rapid test results will come through while you're waiting for your flight. They do cost about $200 though. Tests are available Thursdays through Mondays from 9 to 5. Pretty convenient if you're headed to the airport.
And if you're headed to the airport, what's the weather look like today?
No problems for today as SLC International Airport, a gorgeous day on tap. Let's take a look at what we have going on for our extended forecast. St. George, your clouds are clearing up. I'm still going to leave you with a mix of sun and clouds. Showers also clearing, increasing cloud coverage by Friday, Saturday. Tracking a system that looks like it's going to bring us some precip. We can all use it, so I think we're okay. Today is what we call red letter day. Absolutely gorgeous out there. Lots of sunshine. Enjoy. 46 is your high, upper 40s by tomorrow. And while I-80 westbound Park City, this is, there you go, 32 minutes. I was like 0. That's kind of like bewitched. You'll just be right there, right on time. I-15 southbound Cedar City to St. George, 45 degrees, and northbound St. George to Cedar City, 50 minutes. So right now, drive times are looking a little bit slower. I-15 northbound from St. George to Cedar City. Apart from that, it looks pretty good out there. Back to you, Sarah.
Nice. Thanks, Erica. Don't forget, we would love to see your baby photos. We love celebrating with your family. To celebrate, just email us news@abc4.com. A photo of your little one, a fun fact about them. We love kids. We also love, embarrassing people that are your age too. So whoever, we love them. Email them in.
We just like them.
Or maybe you like this. If you like Oreos, check out what Pillsbury's now got. They've got a new Funfetti line. It's vanilla cake mix combined with Oreos. You can do a lot of different things with it. So
delicious.
You've got a brownie mix is one. They've got a pancake waffle mix. That's another one. You've also got chocolate cake mixes as well, all infused with Oreos.
Okay, I put like chocolate chips and fruit in my pancakes. Why have I never thought to put an Oreo in a pancake?
That's what I'm saying. Expand your horizons.
They are expanded this morning.
I am doing this, you guys. I could not wait.
When you go, let me ask you a question. When you go get like a shake somewhere, do you get the Oreo shake?
Oh, they're always the best.
I'm really boring. I do vanilla.
All right,
I'm only vanilla ice cream.
You got some room to grow, right?
Yeah, I'm going to develop. Yes,
right?
I always do mint Oreo because that's the best, flavor combination in the world.
I love it.
So now you can take your kind of vanilla pancakes, maybe your vanilla, brownie mix, and then add that and step it up a notch.
You guys, I'm ready to do this. I think we have to do it and bring it into work to save.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great cooking segment. I'm down.
And to further celebrate Funfetti, they're going to be hosting a baking competition judged by a celebrity pastry chef. And if you want to get in on that, you can register online now through Tuesday.
Nice.
So if you're thinking, okay, not only do I like tasting it, but I can work with this. I can do something.
I can win some money.
I love it.
Thanks for making us part of your morning.
More local news coming up on Utah's CW30, continuing inauguration coverage all day long.